Ashadu Ashate Ashawan vibrations, everybody. Ahmed stay. To Ray is Ray 16112. May your mind, bodies, and souls be old. May your bodies be free. May your arms be sound. May your bodies be leaven off ground. When we keep the breath, the aura, the mother, the noose, the soul, raw arm stem guides and keeps you all. I, on Matata Amin Ra, Chris Gray Chaplain. I am Truth Awareness, TrueTalk.org. Can be a part of the greatest transfer of wealth. That's not intelligence, that's aminology. That's sound logic, ta'ang godu. And with that, being a fool is up to you. Ray is 16112. That's 1,612 days into Sora cycle 25. Okay? We're not in 2025. Every time I flip through Instagram, TikTok, I'm blocking channels because all they're throwing at me is just really crazy stuff. A lot of torture, a lot of offing, a lot of political this, political that. This is an energy war. And we're feeding their timeline. We're feeding everything our attention. Okay? So I've broken down many things for over 2 decades. One major thing I've broken down over and over again is energy. This is what you govern. Regardless if you give your consent to someone else, you govern it because it's your ka, your ba that is being replaced to operate your ka. I represent what a real sovereign soul is. Regardless if I'm in the same pen as you or not. Why? My brain, the things I'm able to do, the things I'm able to say. So it's very, very important that we recognize and we realize what's going on. Wagwan. Okay, so we're going to start like this. This is an energy war. Okay? Your attention comes with your will. Okay? Remember, your attention comes with your will. If you give it enough attention, you will. What comes after will is desire, which is really disconnect the sire. You are the sire. Okay? You're the one who's supposed to erect and bring things into being. Okay? This is what it is. You're a baka. You're a soul. A soul element from the soil. What you sow requires oil. This is how the engine keeps lubricating. I've broken this down before. That oil in the ground, that's from your thoughts. It's back and forth. This is why they burn it. The less oil in there, the less your thoughts are going to resonate and bring into reality. Okay? This is not what that video is about. This video is about energy and how to beat this energy war. So I started off by telling you that I've been going on Instagram and all of these channels about even, what they're doing to like just everything. Block. Okay? So they're not on my feed. Okay? Number 2, we got to look at the equation of things. We can't expect death to do anything other than disconnect the ether. Okay? This is what it's going to do. So if we're in a battle of judgment, pointing fingers, looking at what they're doing, pointing out, sharing what they're doing. Whether we want it or not, that energy is going to counter itself by us having to compare ourselves to what we are complaining about. Here's the psychological flip. Instead of doing something righteous, let's just pretend, for lack of visual argument, that the church was righteous. So instead of going to the church, right, what we'd want to do is we want to be better than these people in their system. So if they're a politician, we're going to want to become a politician to do a better job, right? If they're a doctor, everything is the same. We want to be successful in their system. So this is what arguing with the system creates. It just builds a pillar of foundation, okay? Because whether or not you want it or not, you're arguing for it or not. It's your energy, your attention. It's a one-way street, okay? And it's even worse when the system is set up in a square box. Every corner you go, it's the same stuff, same thing, just a different corner. So you think you're going here to escape, and you're going there to fix yourself even more to this problem. So how do we solve this equation? We recognize we have sound and we have word. This is the only thing the parasites have. It's language. Okay, this is what you're operating. This is what you're arguing. This is what you're talking about. This is what everything comes through language, signals, how you're interpreting them. Okay, your genes and everything don't speak this language. Okay, they speak sense. They move off of sound and vibration. You're creating these sounds and vibrations. You're giving these dead things life, which are these words. That's what's happening. Okay, so we got to look at this equation here. If they're offing things, you have to on things. It's the only way. You can't off things better. Okay? So, attention is love. That's a low volume of ether. Broken this down many videos ago, decades ago. We need evolution. Evolve. Okay? We need a volume of ether. Okay? So, how do we get their attention? Is you living in your soul program. I just put out a video releasing seals, changing your name, decoding that name. That's a start. The Ibaka Omen. Lots of things I got going. Okay, but the number one thing is your behaviors, your actions. Okay, so evolution comes with stewardianship. Okay, what you call farming, which is really Edening. Edenon. Okay, this is what it is. So how you know what they're gonna get your attention? Well, everything is preemptive. They're already ahead of the game. Okay, so when you start acting like a soul and start speaking sounds, if you're Jamaican, you're already there. It's a couple of things you need to do, but for the most part, you're already a sound-based language. Okay. 2, your activities. Planting, whatever you call it, this is what you got to do. That's all you have to do. Family. Okay? Getting back into the homily, not family, the homily. That's false ma tree. We are the origin of matter. But just regardless of all that stuff, is your actions. They're getting, you know, they got your attention when they make laws where, for instance, you can't gather together, right? You know, you got their attention when they make laws where you can't plant and harvest your own foods. Okay, you know, it got your attention, you know, when you can't fetch your own water. Okay, when you can't sustain yourself. Okay, so when they come to your home and they tell you you can't sustain yourself there, and they take you away, and they take you away from that river, okay, and they may even off you, they lock you up, you know what happens? They get Source's attention. They get Baal's attention. Okay, this is why they do things in the way that they do. So this is what I'm getting at, is we have to be us, and we need to speak to that. We can't be back and forth with death. And that's just facts. Okay? Tata Amin Ra. Go to savebysound.com. And I'm going to say this again. How is it that you're going to rely on your God when your God lives in you, and you can't interact with me? Right? If you've watched this video until this point and you can hear me, boom, you can't interact with me. You can't take your hand and share and like and comment and feed, right? When I'm the attention, when Source needs the attention. Okay? So you think about that. Just think about that for a moment. I think you need to be on the Baka side. Okay? Because this is not a war thing. Okay? I'm not here going to pretend that I got anything in me to want to fight in any way and form with these guys, with their weapons. I got to be in my plane, my lane, which is sound. That's my tier. All right? And they know what's happening. Okay? So we need to focus on organizing and being souls. That's what we need to be doing. Because one last thing I want to tell you and make clear. This word, this thing you call government. Okay, let's leave it as it is right now. If you were to compare it to something in your body, let's look at a setum, a ta'om. You call an atom. Okay? So in a ta'om, you have something called an electron, a proton, and a nucleus. Okay, so nucleus, remember, is neutral, right? It's going to take on the most dominant charge. If it's healthy, the electron's going to perform the movement. Okay, the proton's going to give the heat, which is going to get the magnetism. That cell's going to do its job. Okay, if it's proton dominated, it's not moving. Okay, it's just providing heat. That's all it's doing, and it's burning shit. Okay. It can't be electron dominant because electrons what keeps things operating soundly. All right. So what I'm getting at is this corporations, these businesses, they are charging this nuclei right now. Okay, this is just facts. They're calling the shots. They're telling the nucleus how to operate the rest of the body. Okay, so you know what we need to be doing? We need to be doing exactly what I said we need to be doing. Go back to being souls. Go back to being sound. Because then that nucleus has to respond to those protons to say, hey, get these electrons in line, right? Get these electrons away from us. We want to maintain, a proton charge, a cancerous cell. We want to be able to, keep things off, right? You know what I'm saying? So when that nucleus goes to speak to you, something else happens in your car, right? These white blood cells and everything else come with it, okay? And whether the protons like it or not, you get reinforced. So that's what I'm saying is if you've seen two seance outside, you're seeing all these orbs and everything like that, that's you. This is what, listen, it just goes like this. Your senses vibrate, okay? How are you going to hear Source's name? Source call you if you only go by your name. And Source has an anma for you, an anim for you. Okay? This is what I'm getting at. Let me convert your name. Let's find out the cipher. And let's get you your ta'angodu, your soul name. Okay? so you can hear your call and live your calling. Talk to I'm in Rock, Christopher A. Chaplin. True Talk. Saved by Sound.